Hi, it's your coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to this Practice Power Academy podcast. Hey, welcome to literally almost the end of February here, just coming off of President's Day here in the United States. And it's been a while since we covered this topic, and it's one of the basics, right? One of the core strategies that I use with all my coaching clients, which is the morning success ritual, aka how to get off to a great start each and every day. What's interesting is that when I think about my coaching philosophies, what I really focus on with clients, I'll always come back to the MSR, or the morning success ritual, as sort of the hub. And you think about the spokes coming out of the wheel, but the morning ritual is really the hub, because without the hub, you have no wheel, right? And yet, very few advisors in my travels, and as I go around the country and I visit and I'm just out and about, very few advisors practice what I call a powerful ritual process. So what I want to do in this podcast today is really, first off, lay the groundwork, make the case, if you will, why you want to put this in place and why it's sometimes challenging. We're all creatures of habits and patterns and behaviors, right? And unless I can make the emotional, psychological, and I guess intellectual case, right, for going ahead and doing this, you'll play with it a little bit. Okay, so a couple things about the ritual. It is, to me, the biggest determining factor of consistent daily success. So, for example, if I have a client who's going and they're doing really, really well, right? So that means they're reviewing their business plan, they got their monthly game plans, they're doing their daily game plans, they're executing. 99% probability they're executing a decent, if not great, morning ritual, right? And funny, we are all human beings, right? And these clients of mine will go on vacation, the holidays come up. So in other words, there's a pattern interrupt, right? There's something that interrupts the flow, interrupts the pattern, the habit. And sometimes you struggle to kind of come back. The morning ritual to me is a predictor of future success. So if you've got a great morning ritual today, you're not going to see it pay off economically in the next 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, even 7, 14, 21 days. It pays off in 30, 60, 90 days, because that's when the habits and that's when your consistency shows up in your checking account in this business of ours. And I think that happens with a lot of advisors. There's, most of us are wired a certain way to be in this industry. And one of the downsides of this wiring, if you will, is that we are incredibly impatient. We want things to happen now. And the problem with that is this is not an immediate gratification business anymore. Now, years ago, and I remember this, instant gratification was you get in your office and you would call prospects and you would call clients, you would get trades and you would drop tickets. You ended the day, you know exactly how much money you earned. Those were the quote-unquote good old days, right? Now we're like, in advisory and fee-based and planning-centric, and you do a lot of action activities, and you don't drop a ticket all day. You can go weeks sometimes without dropping tickets these days, right? And so you've got to make sure you set up the rules of the game so you can win. And one of the ways you do that is understand rituals. Now, how I got to this point was I am an avid reader of biographies. I find that reading biographies are, in my mind, a lot better than a how-to book or a self-help book. Because biographies, first off, they tend to be stories, and we as human beings love stories. But secondly, if the biography is written well, again, whether it's a biography or an autobiography, it doesn't really matter to me, is that you get inside the subject's head. And getting inside a subject's head is incredibly important, because inside that head you get their beliefs, you get their values, you get their mental constructs, you get kind of how they're wired, how they approach things, why they approach things, right? In other words, probably a very complete model of a human being. And so, and I love athletes, and so I've read, you name an athlete, I've read the book, okay? And years ago, probably 15 years ago, so maybe 20 years now, close to it, is that I started to see some very interesting patterns in reading those books. From a Walter Payton book to an Andre Agassi to a Tiger Woods. I mean, all these, right? And I remember they all had the one, it doesn't matter the sport, by the way, it didn't matter, is they all had one level of commonality, that each of these athletes, before they competed, had a pre-game, pre-match, pre-round, pre-whatever, right, pre-race. They all had a ritual. They all had a syntax that they deployed, an exact syntax in most cases, that they deployed in a certain way that in their minds put them into place to be excellent, that gave them the highest probability of success, that got their mind right, that got them focused, right? And I said to myself, because years ago I did this, talk for Horse's Mouth on the advisor as an athlete, and it still may be up there somewhere. This is probably back in the 90s, as a matter of fact. That advisors have a lot of the same characteristics as athletes do. From being focused to being disciplined. I can give you maybe one day I'll actually do one of these on a podcast and I'll go bring out my notes and talk about it. But the bottom line is, great advisors, like great athletes, have to start their pre-game ritual in a certain way. Now, how about our game? What's our game, right? Our game is every day, right? At least Monday through Friday, typically, right? No off season unless you want to go get some downtime, which I highly recommend. So we have the game here, right? And every day, look, even if you're not dropping tickets anymore every day, you still win or lose every day. And so to me, how you start the game, and by the way, the day doesn't start, so let's be very clear on this, are the rules, right? Your game does not start at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 7:30, whatever time you hit that office. Whether you work from home or not, doesn't matter. The game starts when your eyes open up and you go, oh, I'm above ground today. And it's a business day, a tactical day, right? That is when the game starts. So there are certain things you want to do, and there are certain things you do not want to do to start your day. So let's go over the not to do's, or the bad things of my experiences, right? So what do we want to do? So first off is, the last thing you want to do is, you get up in the morning and then the first thing you do is reach for your phone or you reach for your iPad and stuff like that. And then even worse than that, you start looking at your inbox, right? Because all of a sudden now you're having other people control. And people sometimes get, when I say that to certain new clients of mine, and they go, well, what do you mean I can't look at my phone? I say, well, whether you look at it at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 6:30 versus 5:30, is that 60 minutes really going to matter? The answer is, of course not. So that's one of the things you want to do. So number one, no email. Next, no news. And oh my God, Joe, you just took away my two things I do every day, right? No news. Again, what's there will be there in 60 minutes. Right? So whether you look at something at 6:30 versus 5:30 or 7 versus 6, even if you're one of those advisors that runs your own portfolio and you go, man, I got to know what's going on in Asia, I got to know how Europe is going to close. The markets aren't open anyway. You can't trade. Who cares? Right? It's this habit, this pattern that you have. I need to be informed, and I agree with. I understand that. I do. Be informed 60 minutes later. Doesn't matter. You have to make the first hour yours. So what's the third thing? So I got email. I got reaching, looking online for the news. The third piece, TV. Do not put the TV on. I don't care if it's Sports Center. Do not do it. Right? Just don't. It'll be there in an hour. What I need you to do, again, I'm giving you my perfect scenario, okay? And we can talk about variations and things like that. I'm going to give you the basic syntax first, and then we'll kind of talk about some enhancements potentially. What I want you to do is in your mind say, you know what, the first hour of the day is mine. And I know some of you saying that, look, and I've got men and women as clients, and I've got young advisors that have young families, and I've been there, done that. Houses tend to be pretty chaotic in the morning. So you've got to figure out what time you need to get up. And if you can, look, I'm giving you best. So in my brain, 60 minutes is best. Can you squeeze 30 minutes out? How about a nifty 15, right? Figure out what will work for you, and then this is so important. This will, we're all tangible people in this industry, so let's be tangible. This will make you more money. this will improve the level of your success. So let's just kind of have that conversation now, and then we can move on. So let me give you a basic syntax. So there's certain things that need to happen in the morning in my mind, and the sequencing can be different, right? So I'm going to give you the checklist. And by the way, if you really, really want to do a deep dive on this, inside of Practice Power Academy, which I'll explain in a little bit, there is two things. There is a multi-part e-learning that I did, breaking down morning rituals in a lot greater detail. And number two, which is really cool, we actually have an online morning ritual builder, which will help you with the various parts of it that you can go through. So we put a lot of resources out there to support you in your success, and I'll get to that in a little bit. So what are some of the basics that we want to do? First thing, this sounds kind of basic, but it's true. What time do you need to get up in the morning to be optimal? And chances are for a lot of us, it's probably not early enough. I was a night owl. I grew up in a family of night owls. We had the bar, neighborhood bar, restaurant kind of Cheers place, right? That's how I grew up. And so, it wouldn't, when I was in high school, it would not be uncommon for me to wrap up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and sleep till noon, right? And then as I changed what I do in my profession and my world, I realized that, I started to read a lot of books on success. And one of the common threads was, what was the old saying, early to bed, early to rise, healthy, wealthy, wise, right? So I literally need to change my body clock by about 2 to 3 hours. And what you tend to do as a type A person, right, is you convince yourself that you're a tough person and I'll just suck it up and make it happen. And that lasts for all about 3 days. And then your head literally explodes and you go, oh my God, we can't do this, and we're back to square one. So if you do find that you need to get up earlier, my advice is incremental change. 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day at most. And so what if it takes you 30 days to reset? You're reset for the rest of your life. And for a type A person, that's a hard one to swallow because you want to go kill it now, right? Trust me, do it incrementally. That's why I did it literally over 25 years ago. And it has served me ever since. I get up at 5:30 every morning, no alarm clock. I'm just now, and it doesn't matter the day of the week. It doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or not. It's 5:30. Doesn't matter what time I went to bed. 5:30. I'm conscious, right? So you want to pick a time that works for you. So once I have that out of the way, what do I want to do? And these are really no particular order, but here's sort of the checklist, if you will. First and foremost, you need to read your business plan every day. And I know some of you sit there, because I have this conversation with some of my clients. Joe, do I need to read the whole thing? All 8 modules, if you're doing ours on Practice Power Academy? Yeah, all 8 modules, best, right? Optimal, right? What's that going to take you? 10 minutes? You spent days working on it, right? Why can't we get 10 minutes to read it every day? So in my ideal world, you're going to read your business plan each and every day, 10 minutes a day. If you can't, if you're got to skinny it up, read a module or 2, right? That's 3 to 5 minutes. You can take things to the bathroom if you want, without getting gross, right? There's ways to get things done. So I'm going to have you do that. The next thing I'm going to have you do what we call morning power questions. And this is all explained inside the e-learning on Practice Power Academy, but morning power questions are questions that you consciously ask yourself to program and elicit a certain response, right? What am I grateful for today? What has to happen in order for me to have a great day today? Who do I love? Who loves me? What has to happen in order for me to make a difference today, right? These are all types of questions that I consciously ask myself each and every morning to get myself in a certain frame. Now I use different terms like what has to happen for me to be a killer coach today, kick ass. I do all kinds of programming so that when I'm with my clients throughout the day, I'm at my best, okay? So we have that. Then we have 2 sets of visualizations, 2 sets. The first set is what we call strategic visualizations. The second set is what we call tactical visualizations. What are the differences? Strategic visualizations, and for those of you who've done our planning process, it's in module number 1, all right? When I ask you, hey, when you think back, where's a place you were totally inspired, totally grateful, just kind of your happy place, right? And we all have those, right? And what I want to do is I want to go and project that. I want to go relive those moments because it makes me feel good. So I do that each and every morning. I've got Costa Rica, Del Mar, California, Maui. I've got a couple others that, every day I remind myself how grateful I am that I can live the life that I do, that I have the freedom, as we all have freedom in our industry, to kind of create things for ourselves, right? So those are my strategic visualizations. Then we do tacticals. Now, what are tacticals? Well, what's going on today? I need you visualize yourself being, powerful in your office, having your headset on, talking to clients, right? Asking for referrals. Maybe you have a client review coming. Maybe you have somebody coming in your office and you visualize that, hey, really doing a great job in that review, or maybe a prospect coming in. And you just set the stage in your mind to be excellent that day. Those are tactical visualizations, right? Then there are two other things that we want to do for sure. We want to really understand what our monthly game plan looks like. And then, again, inside Practice Power Academy, we have a monthly game plan builder, right? Or you can have it on a piece of paper if you want. I don't recommend that, but whatever floats the boat, right? And then what you want to do is figure out your daily game plan. All those elements there. The other thing that is a must in my mind, we call it the mental diet. Nutritionists will say that breakfast is the most important part of the day. And so here, we want to feed our brain, again, after we do all our visualization, our power questions, review our business plan, now we want to do is take maybe 10, 15 minutes, depending again on your schedule, and I want to either read something, I want to listen to something, I want to watch something, right? And when I say that, that's not the news, that's not ESPN, okay? I want something motivational, inspirational. It can be spiritual in nature if that's the way you want to operate. I'm totally cool with that. Many of my clients do that. Kind of puts them in the right frame of mind, gratitude, abundance, right? All those things. But you get yourself in a place where you have all these inputs going on. The only variable in my mind in the morning, do you exercise or don't you exercise? Because that will add a lot of time. So when I talk about an hour, sometimes we say, okay, 30 minutes of exercise in there. That's up to you. Some of my clients will hit go for a run, hit the bike, hit the gym, take a hike, whatever they do. Some don't do that. They do it midday, later on in the day. I can't tell you what's going to work for you. You just got to figure out what's going to make sense. So that's the basic syntax, if you will, of a morning ritual for our business. Now, there are some enhancements that we can do. So let's talk about the enhancements and some cool things, okay? Number one is, again, depending on your modality, what I mean by your modality, you like to read, you like to watch video, right, or you like to listen, pick something that will work for you. And if there's ways to combine things, like, for example, one of my clients, and I'll talk about her real quick, what she does, and it's brilliant if you think about it, is she actually takes the 8-module business plan, records it to her iPhone, and then as she's walking her dog / hiking with the dog, every morning she listens to herself, reminds herself what she wants to accomplish for the day. I think that's brilliant, right? So there's one of the enhancements, one of the things that you can do. I've got other clients that will cycle, that will hit the gym. Now the question is, hey, where do you do the ritual? They're all different models out there, so that's why I give you the core one. So let me give you some derivatives of them. Some of my clients will do pieces of it in the morning, and like early, the visualization, right? So I can do the visualization, I can do the power questions, right? The gratitude piece, right? And then it's up to get the kids out, right? Because we got to get, it's school time and stuff like that. So we'll do that part, go handle the children, come back, finish our ritual. Or if your house is really crazy, which I remember those days here, is that I do have several clients that will actually not start their ritual the first hour. Again, it's a little bit different. They will not start their ritual immediately when they wake up, although I think that's optimal if their situation doesn't allow it. What they'll do is they'll get up, do what they need to do around, for the family, get ready to leave, and they actually go to a third-party location. So let me cover this real quick. There's one rule I have. Never, ever, ever do your ritual in your office. It is too late. That is the playing field. That is the court. That is the course. Game on, too late, you missed. So you can do it at home. You can do it maybe at the gym if they have a little cafe. You can do it at Starbucks. You can do it at Panera. I have a couple clients actually will go to Starbucks and then go and sit in their car. One gentleman in California is, really, I think about him a lot. He's got a really cool ritual. He gets up Takes care of what he needs to take care of, gets ready for his day, hits Starbucks, get his latte, and he actually drives to the coast, and he's in this area, and he overlooks the Pacific, and there are usually surfers in there. This would be like 6:30 now, almost 6:30, 7 o'clock. And he does his ritual typically, unless it's raining, like it is in California right now. But if it's nice out, he'll sit outside, like a little bench area, or even sit in his car with the windows down and just do everything in his vehicle. And that works for him. So it doesn't matter how you get it done. You just need to get it done. I've got, like I said, several clients that will put earphones on, take their iPad or their computer, go to Starbucks, review everything they need to review, get their mind right, and they head in. Now, as far as paper or no paper, so here's a little shift for me. So for years, I was one of these paperless freaks, right? I don't like paper. I mean, as you see behind me, we don't really have a lot of stuff laying around here. It's by design. I like clear office, clear mind. That's the way I always viewed things. And so for years, what I would do is I would keep my business plan. By the way, I use the same business planning templates that you all have access to in PracticePower Academy. I just changed one word from advisor to coach, and it works fine for me. Is that, I used to have it always online. And we all know we're all human, right? So what happens when you go online looking for something, right? Ooh, you can go a little sideways, right? You can meander a little bit to some different things. So what I decided to do about 18 months ago or so is I actually went back and I printed my whole business plan out, all 8 modules, and you can't see it here. I guess maybe you can real quick. If those who are again watching on YouTube versus just listening, I have a Leverager binder, and in the back of my Leverager binder, I have my entire business plan, all 8 modules, double-sided printed, so I don't kill too many trees, and I actually hard copy read it. I keep it there. I keep it online in PracticePower Academy. I also have it in Evernote, so I have the PDF version, emailed over to Evernote. I have a notebook just for business plans. And by the way, I've got probably 10 of them in there right now for the last several years. So I keep it like my little online archive. That's where I keep those. I like paper. For me, I guess I'm still old enough to where I like the tactileness of it, and that works for me. But again, you got to figure out what's gonna work for you. Same thing with books. I'm blessed, I guess. A lot of my clients send me books. They find a book they like, they'll gift it to me, which I really appreciate. Keeps my library going, right? And so typically for me, I still like hard copy. There's still, I just there's something about hard copy, again, the tactileness of it, right? But I also have a copy, and I buy them white. So if a client gifts me a book, I actually go get the Kindle version of it, typically, and I keep it in my iPad that way. So if I'm traveling, I'm not running around with a big book. Like one of my clients gifted me The Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss, and if any of you have seen the book in the bookstore, have the book, it's literally 3 inches thick. You don't want to be carrying, you don't want to be lugging that puppy around on an airplane. So right, so I have the Kindle version too that I use. Find a way to do what you need to do in terms of your morning ritual. I said experiment, but here's the bottom line: commit to it. It is the biggest thing you could do for your success, for your business, for your family, for yourself, is to, and I say this with respect, be selfish for the right reasons. It's okay. If it's for the right reason, you got to carve out some time. Look, for most of us, that hour in the morning is the only time we really have to control things at the highest level. We get in the office and it's game on, right? Emails there, texts are there, phone calls there, colleagues there. It's all there. You got to find this window of time. Now, this also means, real quick, if that means that you need to start your day a little later, so let me explain this very quickly. This is one of my key beliefs. Let's say your brain says, I got to be in my office by no later than 8 o'clock. And so you say, I get up at 6:30. By the time I get done, I'm lucky I get in the office. My hair's on fire. I'm coming in at 8 o'clock, right? And because I got to be there at 8 o'clock. So hold that thought. So my first question is going to be, why do you need to be there at 8 o'clock? Because your brain goes, because you need to be in early to be successful. Nice rule. Here's the problem. If you're coming in early but not ready to be excellent, all you're doing is being physically present in that business of yours, not mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're not there yet, right? Because you've not set yourself up. I literally have conditioned clients over the years that I have some clients that they'll come in until later in the morning, like literally, 8:30, 9, like an hour later than they would want to because their brain's like, they got to get in. But here's what they find. When they walk in their office, in their brain even later than they want to, but they're ready to roll, they have so much more of a productive day. They handle things at a such different level. They're happier, they're more focused. So just remember, you don't get paid by the hour. You're not punching a clock. I would rather you come in a little later. Again, maybe you don't have to. Maybe you just need to get up earlier and do some discipline. That's fine too. But if you need to go ahead and come in a little later. But you come in the right way, the right mindset. That's ultimately going to be better for you and your business than popping in there and just kind of figuring it out as you go along. That will not work. Okay? So think about that. Again, Practice Power Academy. There's a whole e-learning section, a builder. Go ahead and do that. Let me spend a minute on Academy real quick because I always like to do this. One of the shifts that I made, and we haven't really put a big announcement out because we're still in kind of quiet mode with it, is that I am sponsoring Practice Power Academy. So this podcast is sponsored by Practice Power Academy, the industry's only 100% free, cannot pay for anything, coaching and training website. The only one. No fee. Zero. Not $1. So go ahead to practicepower.net. Reactivate your membership. Go get your passwords if you forgot, haven't been there in a while. And if you haven't been there in a while, go take a peek. There's about 300 hours of my best stuff. Okay? So work on your morning rituals. I will see you next week. I'll probably be remote. Be heading to California to host my Magellan group, which may be a conversation for another time. So hopefully I'll find some nice scenic spot. Hope it's not raining. And we'll be shooting there next week. So with that being said, have a great week this week, a short week, and I'll be with you again within 7 days.